I've already done a roll call by noting everybody who's here. We have Jeff, we have Don, we have Ann, we have Karen, John, Patty, and Pat. So, and me, everybody.
Brian.
And Brian. Sorry. You're not invisible. So everybody's here, which is great. Thank you. So let's call to order at 10:01. Trying to be very efficient about. Oh, and by the way, I'm not sure it's going to work, but I'm trying a new AI transcribing service called Otter. It's supposed to be automatically transcribing this meeting. You may get some notes from it because I wasn't sure how to tell it not to send everybody notes, but I'm not sure if it's working. We're going to find out. I'm going to take notes anyway, just in case. So let's look at the minutes from the last meeting, which thank you, Patty, for drafting this up for me. Does anybody have questions about the minutes, or can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
You.
Second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Excuse me while I take notes, just in case. All right, so moving on to the agenda. So Jeff, Brian and I submitted those forms saying that we were elected, which it was kind of weird because it's like the form for a new member. We're already members.
Same. Yeah.
Okay, so we were confused about that and how to do it. But so I noticed that nobody has updated the list on the.
Right. So
Do I need to request that?
no, I'll take care of that. Your forms are in the board packet for approval
Oh,
for
so-
this Saturday.
oh, so we have to be approved.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I guess I'm still the interim chair and you're the interim vice chair.
Right. Until Saturday.
Okay, yeah, well, because there's, the
Yeah, I
meetings
did.
have been going the board meetings have been coming at the end of
Yeah,
this.
so-
Okay, well, thank you
So
for
it's
that.
all in line. It's all been submitted and should not be an issue.
Okay, well, hopefully we're not.
So the board has to approve.
Every new advisory committee member, anytime anybody gets elected chairperson, vice chairperson. And while I'm on the subject, there was a question on, can a committee member,
Term limits.
exceed their term limit? So you use that same form, fill it out, and submit it like you did, requesting an additional term of 1 year or 2 years. Nothing, I wouldn't exceed that. It'll come in front of the board for approval.
Well, thank you. Okay, because Karen, yours is up. This is your last meeting.
Yeah, I can't keep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for service and sticking with us for this long. And Anne, you think you might reapply because you're up in November, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. And then I think we're going to have 2 openings on the committee. So how do we get that added to the future? Thank you. Because with Tim's resignation and Karen not re-upping, it's 2. I don't know what our limit is. I think the number of chairs in this room probably limits.
Yeah, it's in your resolution for this,
Okay.
for this committee on what your staffing should be. It's either like 8 or
It's 8,
9.
because we're full except for Tim.
Oh, we are?
So there's 7 of us and Tim is 8. Yeah.
But with
But I counted Karen.
Karen's,
Yeah.
Karen's leaving.
So
We
1,
do
2,
have 2.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and Tim was 8.
Because I understand sometimes there's a
Pat.
waiting list of people who want to.
Pat, 9. I forgot
9.
about
I-
Pat.
Oh, yeah,
9
Pat.
was 9.
See, Pat, we're trying not to
9.
forget you. 'Cause you're-
Nine.
Yeah, it should be an odd number.
Yes,
I mean,
That makes sense.
Right.
So it makes sense to have terms
yeah,
sort
it
of
is.
like
I'm almost sure it's nice.
staggered too, so that you always have some continuity. Okay, well, thank you for that. Oh, so a question about the meetings are supposedly being recorded, but I noticed that the video for the last meeting, I never asked this question because you don't see many committees meeting videos being posted. And I noticed ours was not posted. And I don't know if that was because I asked if we had to have them posted or if it's just an oversight.
No, I think what you should do is just request that it gets posted.
Well, do we want them posted?
Yeah, so for anybody that would like to view your meeting after, I
Okay.
think it's a good practice.
All right. And I also noticed, in looking over previous minutes and also on the committee calendar, that there was a November 20 meeting scheduled, and I might have missed that. I thought we agreed not to have a meeting in November and December. Does anybody want to change that? I don't know how November 20, that our normal meeting would have been on Thanksgiving Eve. So, but somewhere on that meeting calendar, there's a November 20 meeting, and I want to, if we're not going to do that, I just want to let them know so they can take it off and not have people worrying about it. So nobody here remembers that.
Typically, we skip the December meeting, at least as long as the years I've been here, however many that is, with not as many as you guys have, but I know we've skipped the December meeting, but at least the last two, we haven't skipped the November.
Yeah,
meeting.
the December one would have been Christmas Eve, so. Okay.
So,
Well, do we want to meet on November 20, or do we think we need a meeting, or do people already have other plans to be out of town? I mean, we can put it back on the calendar if you want to do it.
Well, the 28th is Thanksgiving, so the next week would be a rough time to have.
Right, that's why I thought we weren't going to meet, but
that's fine.
right.
I don't-
Fine to not meet.
Fine. I don't object to that not meeting.
Anybody want to meet on the 20th? Okay, then they'll just have it taken off the calendar, and that means that our meetings will continue on the fourth Wednesday in 2025, starting in January. Everyone okay with that?
No meeting in November.
Or December.
Wow.
Take a vacation, whatever you want to do. Now I want to get into some of these things that Jeff has been answering a lot of my questions, but there's just a few that I'm still waiting for a response. But regarding the signs, the goose duck crossing signs, this apparently the OPA's reading of the snipe sign rules say that the signs that are on county roads, which would be Mankland Creek and Cathell, are considered snipe signs. And I'm just wondering, does that also go to apply to all those banners that are on the light poles that promote the amenities? Because there's a lot of them.
Well, we would have to take a look, because they may have applied for,
We can apply.
well, they may have applied for the right to do that. I don't know.
Okay, because what my reading of it then is, if it's not a county road, for instance, Ocean Parkway, we can leave the signs up, because the Ocean Parkway across from the firehouse and the pond side, there's a lot of activity.
I have a question about, I think you just said it's Ocean Pines perspective that they are snipe signs. Have they talked to Worcester County? The only reason I ask is, in my head, these are not signs to sell property or do anything of that nature, or political signs. They are safety signs. I mean, there is a safety component to having geese cross your road and having people stop for traffic. And so I just wondered if anybody had talked to anybody at Worcester County and said, is that your perspective that you would take these down, or are they allowed, or do we have to ask?
I think their interpretation of the ordinance was subject matter didn't matter.
Our interpretation of the
Yes,
ordinance.
of the
So
ordinance.
the answer to,
Whose
no, Worcester
interpretation?
County has not been questioned.
Okay,
So
so it's Ocean Pines interpretation.
the subject matter, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're selling something or if you're advertising a home sale, or that's not the point. It's the sign. It's just the presence of a snipe sign.
That's our interpretation.
Because, so many times I see the geese and, crossing and stuff like that. And certain areas where we had the signs, they're gone.
Well, there's I believe 5 or all of them are around the Southgate Pond right now. There's one on each side of Cathell. There's one on Mankland Creek, and there's 2 on the Parkway near the firehouse.
But the one,
There are two on the park.
No,
but the one the one across from the library that was sitting there, that one's gone.
yes. I think there's only 3.
It was there earlier this
There's-
week.
I think it's 3.
I think
Just 3
there's,
now.
I think so.
No, today there were 2 by the library.
Is there?
okay. Well, then it's,
So we got gases.
I've lost track of how many
Showed up
were there
recently,
originally.
'cause-
5? Were there 5?
At 5, we used to have 8. Okay, I think right now there are 2 on Cathell, 1 on Mankland Creek, and 1 on Ocean Parkway.
Well, I think we now just are going to be resigned to the fact that we did our part, got the signs. They OPAs, did that for us, and the signs are theirs now. And we can't really get too involved in how they're deployed.
I think right now, you know, there will be left alone, what's there will be left alone until the board, if the board approves additional electronic signs.
Mm.
And if that happens, then they will roll a geese and duck crossing warning on those signs and remove those sandwich signs.
Okay, and they can be repurposed for events, other things, you know,
But that's,
up to the, yeah.
yeah, we haven't been approached to approve that yet.
Okay.
I don't know, because again, if the electronic signs were near the south gate, you'd have to put it, you know, on the Parkway side or near the,
Or they'd have to get permission from the county.
yeah, yeah, or maybe where one of the signboards is now.
Hmm.
All right, well, it's a nice idea if you can do it.
I know on Coastal Highway, right where the fire station is, but on the side, on the road going out right next to the water, those geese cross there.
Are you talking about Ocean Parkway? Not
Yeah.
Coastal Highway.
Oh, yeah.
The geese there cross a lot, and they will cause traffic to sit there for a good 10 minutes
Well, yeah,
because there's so many geese coming out of the pond and then going on the other side.
I think most people are not going to deliberately run over and I think maybe the signs have helped raise awareness.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I've seen them try and run around them and go. It's
But again, it's an awareness thing.
It is
And
an
it's a
awareness.
safety issue because if you are new to this community and you're driving along and you go around a bend and all of a sudden traffic is stopped for no reason that you can see or were aware of, it can be a problem. And especially when you're trying to get out of Ocean Pines on Capitol Road.
and
People
if you're
go
riding a bike
flying
or a
up that
motorcycle, well,
Okay, well, we're just going to table
But
this.
I think
for
you're
now.
okay for right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
We still have the ones in the Parkway. Hopefully, no geese or ducks will be harmed. Okay, so let's move on to the turtle sanctuary charging document. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so I resent the charging document to Stuart
Okay.
and asked him to review that with John Idle, and he has done that. And John replied that he's discussing it with the Public
Okay.
Works.
Because I think the easiest thing would be take one of these fallen trees and just put it back. Because that was what the turtle is used to.
So
Yeah,
we should know a little bit more by next meeting, but I
All right,
resent that thing on behalf of your committee.
thank you. This change in leadership for the board. Okay,
So where or how many and where would we like
well,
to see?
I think we want at least one on the Southgate Pond and one on the, what's the lake's name of that pond? The offshore pond?
I think I saw some map and it looked like it said the offshore pond, which
Well, it
I've
does
never
back
heard
up
of
to
that.
offshore lane, but I mean, again, a pond to be named later, I don't know, it's Route 90 or
Right,
whatever you want to call it.
Was that the North State Pond?
It specifically, in that charging document, it specifically
Ask.
requested a certain area.
Okay, I'll have to
I'll
find that.
send it to you.
All right,
And I don't remember it was definitely the Southgate Pond, and there was an additional location,
yeah.
and I can't remember what it was.
Well, I know that there was a sign on the Southgate Pond, okay, on the right side.
we're not talking about signs, we're talking about turtle sanctuary.
Oh,
Having
okay,
logs.
because that geese sign is gone and the geese cross there frequently.
But I would think on the turtle sanctuary, the Route 90 pond, whatever they're calling it, that already is a turtle sanctuary, I believe.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
it's
if you're-
very quiet over there.
And there are logs, and so it would likely be the Southgate Pond and the Northgate Pond if you need approval for
The
a.
North Gate, aren't there two ponds? Or it's just one pond on two sides of the road, or
Yeah, one
turtles
pond, two
there? Because
sides.
I don't usually come in that way, so.
Yeah, I mean, if the bridge goes over, a little piece of water was
Okay.
connected to.
But there are turtles there.
I
I
don't know.
should so. There's geese there.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
I'm sure there's
get
turtles.
along
I
very
did
well.
get some, Tim was kind enough to give me some files on a flash drive, but all, it said his naming conventions, every one that's charging document starts charging document. I have to then open up the whole thing to find out which charging document are you, but I couldn't find the current one, so. I'll send it. Thank you. We already talked about getting our stuff on the electronic signs. If we have, when we have other things, like for instance, I don't know, if we're gonna have this, cleanup day that I was, also haven't found any information on. Did we get a, response to being able to create a Facebook page for the committee?
That I haven't heard of.
Okay, all right, so still a question.
But,
And
but what I did ask is if you all, if the association could set up a group email for
Yes,
you all.
we have that, and I wanted to talk about that. But what about the video? Did you get a response on that? The video that Brian slaved over, which we had ready for, we had that for the kickoff too, right?
Expo.
Expo.
Yeah.
And it's a really good, it's a nice video, you know, it talks about the committee does, but it also talks
That's
about
excellent. Yeah.
committee, you know, so maybe just on the Facebook, I mean, on the YouTube page or something. I don't know how well they can put video on
Well,
the
didn't
website.
they did put it out on the association site at one point.
Once.
Josh put that out.
I never saw it.
Okay.
I did see it, it was there briefly, but I think a
Because he
more
asked your
permanent,
permission, since you made it, he asked my permission to put it on there. And we all said, yeah, sure.
does he also control what goes on
He's a-
YouTube?
yeah.
Okay, could I, am I allowed to ask him, or no, because we have to go through you. Yeah, just on the YouTube page, so it'll have like a permanent home. Again, that's,
I didn't even know we had a YouTube page.
oh yeah, we do. That's where our committee videos get posted when they get posted.
What is it? Just YouTube?
It's
Ocean
just
Front?
go search Ocean Pines Association and you will find the channel or whatever it is.
Jeez. All right.
All right. So here's good news. For those of us who were almost scammed by that phishing attempt somebody who found our emails on the committee page, and I just said, why don't we all have our personal emails information up there? Jeff got this done. So now we have a single email. It's called environment@oceanpines.org. And the question is, does everybody want emails we get forwarded to them, or do you want it just to go to me and Brian? Assuming that we are approved as chair and vice chair. Up to you.
My suggestion is go to you and Brian, and if you feel it's something that the rest of
Share
the
it.
committee, yeah, then you would forward it.
Yeah.
And does everyone want their personal emails taken off?
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Pat, are you still with us?
I am, and I would like my personal email taken off, please.
Okay, great. We'll do that. And so Brian, we'll have those, the environment email will be forwarded to you and me. Is it okay with you? Do
Yeah, sorry.
you want me to use your Terp email address? Okay.
Go Terps.
As opposed to your business address? Okay, that's great. So we already talked about the term limit policy, and you got it, and you can reapply now, as discussed, but don't be too confused by that form.
You want me to send you the form?
It's on
Yeah,
the.
Go ahead. I mean, I think I probably had to read 2 or 3 years ago. Didn't we have
Yeah,
to read?
Every few
But-
years we had to do it.
Yeah, but yeah, if you want to just send it to me, that's fine.
So moving on to the goose egg addling,
Item 3
Yeah.
of unfinished. Did we stop talking about that?
The fishing gear disposal too.
Oh.
Signage?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I checked to see if the ones around the pond had been labeled, and they haven't, but I also didn't see as much the trash in them this time. So I don't know if they're gonna.
So I sent an email again through Stuart to Josh, our marketing guy, requesting that he create some kind of educational awareness of those new fishing disposal lines.
So maybe put it out in one of the weekly email blasts or something. Okay.
How many are out? Because I saw one at the
There's
offshore
3 that I
pond.
am aware of.
And 2 of them on Big Lake. It was very
Big
good to
pond,
see them all.
yeah.
There's
Southgate
two
Pond has.
Southgate,
Uh-huh.
and there's one on the Route 90, and there's one at the boat launch.
Wow.
Oh,
good.
there's one on the boat launch. That was great. So there's 4. Great.
And I was around the Route 90 pond yesterday, and there was fishing line in it.
All right.
I was so excited.
And not a
Yeah.
Heineken bottle.
And not a Heineken bottle.
No, because the first time I checked them out, I was like really dismayed that
Yeah.
people would just stuff, chewing tobacco containers and soda cans and, I mean, that stuff goes along with fishing sometimes, I guess. All right, thank you for.
Yep.
Not there's no
letting me
sign, maybe new
miss that.
fisher people don't know that they can't use those.
So I was looking for, information on firms that do goose egg addling. And all I could find were people that use dogs. So I don't know who was used in the past to do this. Maybe
They've never done it, from my recollection, they've never done the addling in the past. What happened was the people that they hired for the dogs were discussing other options, and they said that they were licensed to do the addling. And you can have this too. This is a document I remember us referring to a while ago that came from the Department of Natural Resources. It has a bunch of
yes, I think I found that online. Yeah.
there's
Other resources.
several people listed at the end. I'm almost positive we use this A1 Wildlife Management Services in Lincoln, Delaware.
Okay. So how old is that? Yeah.
They do not date it, but I know we used it in like 2018 or something.
And the decision to not use them for the addling.
Yeah,
Right.
that was all through the board. The board, remember when the board hired the management person that we had for like a year? It was his idea to get the dogs, from what I remember.
Mhm.
And he wanted to pursue the addling and then was dismissed. And I don't believe it went any further than that. But I'm almost positive it was that A1 Wildlife Services.
Okay.
And it was at the suggestion of the person who was running the dogs that we do the addling, and he said he could do it. But then I don't
Yeah.
believe it was followed up on from there.
Okay, and that has to take place in what, March and April? Is that the months? You said.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, this
exactly when.
firm should know. Okay,
Yes,
So
yeah.
maybe
It is something you have to be licensed to do.
if you don't mind sharing that with
Yeah,
me.
you can have that.
Mr. Last week. I will try to maybe just redo a charging document based on whatever, because it's like, I hate to ask for something, I have no idea how much it's gonna cost.
It's really hard, in my experience, when I was trying to help plan the Southgate Pond project. It's very difficult in our position to get quotes because we're not in a purchasing position. People don't really want to deal with you and give you exact quotes if you're not able to pay for it. So, all we can really do is provide the information that they would need for a quote.
So maybe we can if I could find more than one vendor who might do it.
Right.
I can pass that information.
Yeah,
on
and
to
just
charging
give them all the
company.
information that we have about, how big the population is, or we have some information somewhere about how big the pond is and stuff like that, because they'll probably ask for that as far as pricing.
Right. Is that what we're?
Yeah,
The library-
There.
I don't even know that they have baby. I haven't seen a domestic baby in a while, but they're older. The white
The white and
the
gray
white
ones.
geese that don't fly
Okay.
ever. But yeah, the domestic Canada geese,
The little ones that stay or they're residents. I guess we call
which
them.
they stay primarily because they raised families here, and that's the whole point of the
Homes away. Okay. What does everybody think? Have there been more geese here about the same?
And
Do you think more?
South Pond. Have you seen South Pond lately?
The other night, that whole field was covered.
But it's also.
It's the migration times, south and through. The only time you can really tell how many are living here is in the winter, or, where they ordinarily go.
Yeah.
Does anyone use the Merlin Birdcast app?
I do it all the time.
Because it tells you how many, you can put in your zip code and it'll tell you how many birds are migrating at that. night. It's pretty cool. It's part of, it's a separate thing from the regular
Okay.
bird ID app.
Yeah,
but
okay, I don't have that.
I've been using that, and then you also learn a little bit about, they keep keep it dark. They migrate at night, and it'll tell you like how many birds are migrating over your area at a particular night. It's pretty cool. I don't know how they measure this, but
Birdcast?
Birdcast,
Okay.
and it's was it the Cornell
Yeah, I got it.
Ecology Lab, and somebody else is partnering on that Birdcast. A few other partners, but
One word.
yeah, Birdcast. And I don't know if it's an app or you just have to go to the website and look.
Okay.
It might just be a website. Just out of curiosity, maybe it doesn't tell you who is migrating necessarily, but
Just how many?
Yeah. okay. So I will look at this information from Karen and see if I can put together a new charging document, and hopefully it also tells me when it should be done. So we'll know that. Okay, so Green Street article was submitted. Was talking again about the programs that provide free or no cost trees, depending if you're on the water. And I read with interest, Jeff, that response you got to the ghost forest trees. I mean, Jeff, Don. And I thought it was really interesting that the bald cypress was thriving, and it was. You thought it was a stormwater situation or pipe or something, and
Apparently, one homeowner I spoke to said, yeah, the pipe was damaged. It caused water to back up for a period of time, probably multiple years, which caused, a larger wetland area that, the tree roots were saturated and they wound up dying around. But the bald cypress was apparently planted in there, and it's doing really well.
yeah, because I also when I was doing the tree article, I noticed we had a couple of, it's one thing if they're in water, they'll grow those knees, but if they're not, they're just nice trees. There's a couple by the Southgate Pond. I think I took a photo of one of them and sent it with the article. But yeah, so maybe more people will take advantage of the programs to get the saplings. I know they're not big. You've done that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And they're basically what, like a
Yeah, they're maybe this big, and half this width. And you gotta really protect them. Unfortunately, I think deer got to a lot of mine.
if you want any pine saplings, I have a whole yard full.
Oh.
About that size. But, okay.
Don, did you say that somebody planted that cypress?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah. And, the thought was that, well, maybe we can get the county or some a larger percentage of them in order to
Right.
reforest that area. The small pine trees. There's other seeds from other trees as well that, if the conditions are right, it'll reforest itself. It'll take time.
Right. But they probably don't grow like in brackish water, do they?
No, I think they do.
Okay.
I think they do.
Yeah, well,
But it's not brackish there, it's fresh water.
I mean, I was thinking of my house. It's still-
Well, think about like Trap Pond. That's a lot of bald cypress over there, right?
Right.
Pretty sure that's what's that.
Yeah.
isn't there like there's like a forest up or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the article I included like the trees that are part of the program, most of them. I mean, there's also shrubs, but I'm supposed to be talking about trees. Okay, it was suggested that we visit the county recycling center. And I had found that article that was in the progress? I always get these all, yeah. Ocean Pines Progress, because that's when it comes out monthly, that really talked about so much of what we were putting into the bins is not really recyclable. So maybe the next, I don't know when the next article is due, but might go into that. We've done stuff in recycling before, but like for instance, no black plastic can be recycled.
No what?
Any plastic, sometimes you get something from a bakery and it's black on the bottom and plastic, it can't be recycled. As a matter of fact, in the hierarchy of recyclables, aluminum cans are number one, that they can be, I think you can actually make money off of that. Or, you get, reimburses some of the program, some plastics, but not all. Generally, number one, if it's number one, it's okay, but the higher the number, less likely it is recyclable. And then glass is no longer recyclable. Really, they take it and grind it down here and use it in making concrete mixes for roads and things. So if you ever notice on roads, you see those sparkles sometimes. But does everybody want to do a recycling trip for the committee, or do you want to just?
I'd go.
You wanna go?
I think it's a good idea, since we're not gonna have a meeting between now and January, that,
They
the end
can
of
meet.
November, beginning of December, we find a time that.
Okay.
We can.
Well, they're very, they're very cooperative, so I will call Mr. Keenan and see what would be a good time to ask for, like before Thanksgiving, or want to wait till December?
Where is this place?
It's in Newark, so we probably just have to carpool.
Newark,
Newark,
Jersey.
Maryland is where the
Okay.
plant is. That's like where the big, I guess there's a
Just
landfill
past
there.
Berlin. I've been.
You know, I've been into all kinds of glass recycling and aluminum recycling plants all over the United States, but not since I moved here. Because I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, and of course, with the plastic waste problem is really almost insurmountable. And I really wish like counties would start putting a tax on plastic bottles because they can't be recycled. And you see people going into stores and buying cases, plastic, single-use plastic water bottles, and I just like, please don't.
They can't be recycled.
For the most part, no. I mean, again, plastic's not that desirable of a recyclable product, but again, it's the number. And I know I don't ever buy plastic water bottles, but I don't if they have numbers on them. But that's I know that some of the counties, I think Wacomico has started not allowing plastic bags for taxing.
Yes. Yeah.
No place.
Delaware doesn't allow them.
Yeah.
This county still allows
Mhm.
because they're as somebody pointed out, they're not recyclable. That's part of the Exxon thing, I guess.
So for Bike Week, I helped out with against the Ocean City Green Team and Josh Chamberlain with can collection.
Mhm.
And he said that, give you an estimate, because they've been doing it for a couple of years now, but for every black bag, and they were big bags, so it's worth about $3. So,
Big black bag, but because the city does not recycle.
but it depends on how you look at it,
You go to the beach, I mean, they just have one big trash bin and there's no like designated recycling bins. We were happy to see that there was a recycling bin at White Horse Park over here by the restroom, so there's only one.
And
And
eyeglasses too.
oh, I know, I forgot to bring mine.
Yeah.
I have a lot of those.
So Ocean City, they take their waste up to Chester and it gets burned, so it's trash and energy, so that's considered to be recycling. And any metals which are still there after the inferno, that right there would be
So they
recycled.
basically incinerate it.
Yeah, but Josh said that contract might be changing, so who knows, it might be going down to Snow Hill, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Just to put in a plug for the Humane Society.
Right.
We have a, on site, which is off of 611, near the golf course.
Eagles Nest.
We have, Eagles Nest Road. We have a big trailer that we take aluminum cans, and we work with a vendor who periodically comes and takes the trailer, empties it, brings it back. And we get a lot from the
Campground.
Yeah, but on average, we get maybe $2,000 every couple of months from this, which is, a very good thing for the shelter. So if you find yourself in the area or coming back from Assateague,
And you can just drop them off anytime.
you can drop them off anytime.
And you recycle them up at Fitzgerald's?
I don't know who the vendor is that they use that takes the.
Yeah, my brother lives out that way and he doesn't have his trash service that go do recycling. So that's what he does with his cans. He drops them off.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes. Fortunately, there's a lot of cans from him. So
Yeah.
I won't go there, but okay. So when do we say we want to do this? Do we want to do a visit in November or December, or everybody get their calendars out? Want to stay away from holidays, obviously.
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
What about that week before when we might have had a meeting scheduled?
Fortunately.
The 20th?
Yeah.
Okay. And we could meet here, and those of us who have more than one person vehicles, like some people who are on motorcycles, can offer to drive others. I've never been to this place, but
I've been there many times,
how far is it?
20 minutes maybe.
Yeah. All right, I will talk to those folks and see if they can have us come in, and I'll try to set it up to be about the time we usually have this meeting, so like 10 a.m. Apparently, they have a lot of cats there too.
Really?
Mhm.
Oh, the ferals, yeah.
They have pet, I think they treat them as pets.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No horses. All right, next, does anybody know about a litter cleanup event that was approved in July 24th? So I found that in minutes. It was application, and an application is different from a charging document, maybe not? All right, does anybody remember this?
You're not talking about the plunger.
No, the plunger was last week.
Okay, but it's another one.
I don't know. I just found it mentioned in,
Something
It is.
that our
Oh, look,
committee-
again, apparently, or maybe it was something that's already happening.
I thought maybe we were trying to do something in support of Earth Day.
That's what, I
Come
mean, I
April.
remember talking about that,
Yeah.
but I didn't know that we actually got anything approved.
Yeah.
Or maybe it could, be in conjunction with the other events that might be happening.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, let's
cleanup
just
event
table that for
specifically in
now.
this area.
I'll try to I'll look through all these,
I remember talking about cleanup events after swim events.
that's
Yeah.
at the, Swim and Racket Club.
Right.
Yeah, right now that place looks pretty clean. I was
Yeah.
over there a couple times in the
But that's
past
the
week,
Adopt the Park
Right,
program, right?
but it's pretty clean. I mean, a lot of people walk their dogs there, but they seem to clean up their waste. There are trash cans. There's even I think there's a figure down there on a little beach.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there is.
And Don, you said you were going to move at some point, move the oyster.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to move it, but I have cleaned it at least once.
Okay, that's going to go on the level sign is.
There's something in the July 24th agenda list of ongoing projects that says litter cleanup event, initiation May of 2024, future project.
Thank you for finding that.
Yeah, that's all it says.
All right, so let's table that until we go through everything else here.
Yeah.
The critical areas laws workshop. I forgot that's supposed to be an Assateague Coastal Trust project, and I think I reached out to Taylor Swanson, but I haven't heard back from him. I know that was supposed to be happening in October, and we're almost in October, so I don't know if I can find out if I get any information from him. I think we're at least sitting on it. Not really sure what that was about. The Coastal Days 10-year plan meetings. Has everybody seen those? The questionnaire they had that you could fill out online for input into their plan.
Right.
Well, if you go to their website, I think it's still up. Or if you you're regular get their emails, you might have gotten an email from them. But they have a 10-year management plan that begins next year, and they were doing taking input, and they have one more meeting, which I believe is tomorrow.
Yeah, I attended the meeting here
Okay.
last Sunday. It was last Sunday.
What and was there a lot of back and forth or just a presentation?
There's a brief presentation and really wasn't well attended. I mean, it was a Sunday, so.
Well, I guess
kind of-
tomorrow night they have one
Yeah.
at the Holiday Inn.
Yeah.
Not sure if I can-
So Kevin Smith, I did ask him about oyster cages, and he was saying that, I guess in 1933, when the break occurred,
Mhm.
we had the inlet created, there was thought that the oysters would start proliferating up here, much like they do down in Chincoteague, I guess. But that hasn't happened. And for some reason, the oysters, which are grown and given the coastal bays, are having difficulty, maintaining them. And so there's a lot of die-off for one reason or other. So I was kind of disappointed now because, my position is that as this committee, boy, if we get everybody that lives on the water, that make a significant contribution, but maybe that's not really the case. The aquaculture on oysters, that's further south. That's down in Chincoteague, where maybe there's some condition in the water that's more conducive to them growing. So that was one thing.
So just to be clear, so they're saying like down towards Assateague is where they're not proliferating?
Further down, like Chincoteague.
Chincoteague Bay?
Chincoteague, that's where the aquaculture, that's where the people who are growing oysters and selling them to restaurants typically set up their shop in those areas. And then the other thing he said was, well, the turn raft, you guys have maybe heard about the turn raft that they deploy per year. That's
What? I'm sorry.
the turn raft.
Okay.
It's an artificial island for
Yeah,
the
it's probably a,
common terns who are an endangered species.
Yeah. I visualize it as a dock out there, a big dock.
It is.
That needs to be permitted every year. So you have to go through the permitting process. And once again, someone had said, well, why don't we have more of those out there? And Kevin was more like, well, let's develop natural land for that to happen, islands and stuff like that. But that's so far off. So both these things, the oyster gardening and the turn raft, seem to me like demonstration projects. Even though I really like the oyster gardening thing, it gets people involved, people thinking about what goes in the water.
Yeah, the tern raft is basically it's an artificial island because the nesting birds, when they're raising their young, they prefer islands because they don't have the predators, the land-based predators, and we're losing islands. So I think this was an attempt to see, and it's been very successful as far as having some of them, the returning birds, they're all tagged, I guess, and successfully raising young. They even built those shelters for the chicks to hide under. The Boy Scouts, they were making those at coastal bays at the Bay Day too. I was really surprised when I went on this estuaries boat trip on Monday at some of the stuff that is living in our bays that I like. Oh, we have sea urchins, we have seahorses, we have like creatures that I didn't know, hermit crabs that are I've seen in southern waters. I didn't know we had them here, but we do. Okay, well, if anybody else is interested in that, there's a meeting tonight, and you can also go on their website and find the questionnaire to reply to. Now, the request we received regarding the wind turbines. Here's the text. I think Martin Clark used to be on this committee, and also was a board member at one point. Present, okay, not just a board member. So we all know that this is a big controversy of putting these, but a bunch of these have already been approved.
Yeah.
Turboids. These are the ones that are going to be off you've got all your information there. Ones are going to maybe be visible from some of the shoreline in Ocean City. So the question is, I don't think this would have to be a charging document, maybe just a statement from this committee. If we wanted to say yes or no, that we're oppose it, or do we want to stay off it? Do we not want to say anything, or
are we permitted to say something? Because I was at the meeting last night, and you sign in and that place for organization. I was tempted to put Ocean Pines Environmental Natural Assets Committee. I'm like, nah, I better not do that. So, and I submitted a comment as well, but it was beneath my own name without any kind of organization association. So I guess the question is, Ocean Pines has a position on this.
Well, I think that's what Marty is asking, is Marty Clark has asked this advisory committee to debate the issue. And if you take one side or the other, I don't know, let's just say you all say, hey, we're against this thing. Maybe what Marty wanted you to do then is, if that's the case, ask that on to the board to see if they'll take a position.
Yeah, and I think if we were to say, either we're in favor or opposed, we'd probably have to give a rationale as well as why we're, so I open the floor to discuss this.
As soon as I got this, yeah, I agree, because as soon as I got that, I did like a deep dive about the issue. It is a very complex issue because on the one hand, wind power is good. On the other hand, it does affect the marine environment. And it's just really hard to weigh both sides of the issue.
And it's politicized. There's
That
no
too.
question.
Yeah.
When I saw the Marty's email, I thought I would not recommend stepping into this personally or as part of this committee.
That's my position exactly, because I see both sides and it's very political, and you can take anything and massage the facts, not lie, but massage the facts to argue both sides.
Yeah.
And I personally have not taken a stand on it for that reason.
And my feeling is that it is very political. This was an initiative by the Biden administration, or to get 30 gigawatts of offshore power by 2030. And currently there's like 9 gigawatts approved in other areas. And yeah, there's a 115 turbine wind farm 10 miles off the coast that's being planned for Ocean City. This meeting last night was what they call critical or category 2, I think, which is a large expanse of the area, which would include those areas as well, but it's up to 3 miles off the coast of Ocean City. And one feeling from an environmental perspective, yeah, it's good, go to clean energy, but you take a look at the price of offshore wind. It's $127 per megawatt hour. Nuclear is like 91. Wind or solar is like $41. And it's the most expensive, is what I'm trying to say right now. But as the industry matures, they anticipate that number to go down. So from an economic standpoint, it's not really a great decision right now. There's other wind farms, in the world in operation. I think there's one off of Martha's Vineyard. There's 2 demonstration turbines down in Virginia. The concern, I spoke with Skilligy from Skilligy's Fishing, and he's concerned because that whole area basically blocks off where his fishing area is, because it's a trap fisherman, he said. So that's a concern. So how close he can get. There's a concern about, the windmills rotating and, hitting birds. I looked at a video last night on YouTube, and it was about the Adamant wind turbines, like 5,000 in Southern California, probably on the way to Palm Springs. But they estimate there's like 70 gold eagles, which are killed every year because of strikes with the blades.
So from the land-based ones.
Yeah.
That 127 megawatt hour, is that only for the ones that are in the water, or is that just for all?
That was a number that had on their chart.
Okay.
So I assume that's a good number, because I found another number that said wind was less than natural gas. So, but I won't go there. I'll go with the BOEM numbers,
As going along with what you said, a good friend of mine is Patuxent Riverkeeper. He teaches environmental law, and I've known him for years. So I asked him a question about this. He's very pro environmental and everything, and he said that, he said, the money numbers don't add up. He said, for the bang for the buck for what you're getting, he says that the money could be used environmentally in other places. I thought that was an interesting answer. He said not only that, but the repair and maintenance of those is.
When you take a look at a video on YouTube of the construction of these things, they're going to use the commercial harbor for this. It looks like it's a bigger project, because they're going to use monopoles, and these monopole things are, I'm not sure how many feet in diameter, but they're the base that gets fed into the ocean bottom, and they get pounded into the substrate. And then the tower gets mounted on top of it. But these things are huge cranes. I mean, being able to cruise over to Harborside on my pontoon boat, it might not be a thing, in the future because of that, unless they come out of somewhere else. So anyway, I don't think it's a great idea that we make a position on this, because people have different views. And from a carbon neutral power generating standpoint, it's great, but on everything else, from vibration of these towers and what it might do to the fishery, to the bird strike incident, to the whole construction process, coming out of the harbor. That's what
Who pays for it? The company, private company, paying to have these,
investors. Yeah.
and then they'll sell that energy later on. And that's
Yeah, there was a lot of
how long it takes them to get their money back.
Infrastructure Act money that made these projects possible. That I forget what it was called, but the big infrastructure act that was approved provided a lot of seed money for this. So, and again, that gets to the political aspects of it, which I think we don't want to touch. I did ask Carly Tolan at Coastal Bays. They are 501c3. They can't take an endorsement of anything, but she said that she did not feel that there was any really verifiable impact on the wildlife so far. I mean, they There, and I did read, BOEM has a whole section on how they're supposed to be monitoring the impacts on, aquatic, and I forget what they call the undersea wildlife. It's got a name that I hadn't heard before, but, birds, anything in the water, anything in the bottom of the sea. They're supposedly, monitoring that, but I don't think they have a whole lot of data on it yet. Because these things are so new.
And, we do have windmills out in,
California.
well, they're out in Western Maryland,
Oh,
Western
yes.
Pennsylvania, land-based, but sea-based, ocean towers or turbines have stronger winds and more consistent winds.
Right.
Okay,
That's
So
why I
that-
think,
that is the selling
Mhm.
point.
yeah, I've just personally noticed that it's getting windier when you're on the beach,
Yeah.
the last few years, and I think the impact of climate change, but, so I can understand why, yes, they do, I guess, generate more
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah, and there was a map that they had shared, and the yellow highlighted area is this cat 2 thing that they're looking at. So you can see it stretches from New Jersey all the way down to North Carolina.
Is that a wind situation map? Or
Pardon?
that's a wind map or?
No, that's a
This is where they
location.
want- They're looking at
And-
wind turbines.
And some of the exclusion zones, Wallops Island
Okay.
is excluded because of the launch pattern.
Right.
There's directs limited there. The blue lines going from like left to right, they're underground cables. I didn't realize there are that many underground cables going to New York.
We have a lot of underground cables.
Yeah, that's great.
Vulnerable to,
Yeah.
I'll go there, vulnerable to attack.
But there are representatives from, marine transport, shipping lanes. That's a concern. Cultural resources, and that map right there identifies where the cultural resources are, where I guess if you consider a shipwreck to be a cultural resource, it's identified on that map. How do you get the power back? But there are different representatives, experts from BOEM manning these tables that were answering questions to some degree.
So I'm hearing a consensus that we don't want to
Yeah.
move on this. So why don't I draft a response to Mr. Clark and share it with everybody? But I'll just say that, for a variety of reasons, we don't think there's enough information for us to take a position either way. And I won't go into reasons why, but just, lack of, forget the politics part of this. Okay. No, we do not want to make a statement. Thank you, everybody, for considering that and thinking it through. Okay, so the answer to the action is no. Do I need to take a vote on that, or is anybody opposed, or are we unanimous on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just reading some of the stuff in here. It's pretty interesting.
Jeff, do you know if they're going to repeat that? Was it called the kickoff, the season kickoff?
Expo?
Yeah, they actually. I think our exhibit there was well received. But do you know if that's in the works for?
Yes, absolutely. We actually are going to discuss 2025 at this board meeting on Saturday.
Okay, so do we think
Something
we'll be like it's in
that
April
exists
last year?
independent.
It'll be in
So
April.
we're going to kick that off
Okay.
at this board meeting.
All right, so everybody, you just keep that in mind. I mean, I think people around this table, almost everybody participated at the exhibit that we did. And that's where we debuted the video. Don had provided a picker and a bucket so that we had a giveaway, which I think, helps.
I wasn't able to give it away. They never contacted.
Oh, really?
I tried
We
reaching.
can try it again next year then.
Yeah. I'd love to
You still
do
have it?
it.
I thought it was worthwhile, because I don't know that many other committees were there.
The Rec and Parks work, because
Okay.
I was going back and forth
Oh, you're both, yeah,
Yeah.
liaisons, double liaison.
I think they all were. Yeah,
Oh, really?
they were
Okay.
supposed to be.
Okay, all right, so we'll, I know that was sometime in mid-April, I think, so we'll for news on that after the board meeting.
Monica is spearheading that, and she's bringing a motion.
Monica's the treasurer?
Yeah, and she's bringing a motion to begin those discussions on Saturday.
Okay,
Make sure they bring back the Orange Crush people.
They Here we go.
Orange Crush.
Yeah,
Oh, they had
someone
drinks.
was selling
Oh.
orange crush, and there was
Right.
also some a craft beer.
So I, trying to remember who was at Bay Day and who was at this day, because they're not that too far apart. I did talk to Liz Wist, who's now the education coordinator for Coastal Bays. And they're definitely, Bay Day will be sometime in May, I believe, but they don't have a date yet. And I guess that has to be coordinated with OBA since it's a joint event. But I also thought that's a beneficial thing for us to be present at. We do have materials left over from last year's events that are being stored in Brian's garage. Thank you, Brian. Posters, those brochures. We are also thinking that in the interest of being an environmental committee, maybe we just, have a QR code for things that they can find.
Or take a picture of it, I'm sure, as we have it up on our board,
Yeah,
if they're
I
interested.
mean, we'll try to come up with a more environmentally friendly way. It'd be nice if we could have something to give away that's, I'll put my thinking cap on, but then we'd have to either ask for a budget from the Ocean Ponds Association or just come up with the donations ourselves to buy something.
What kind of thing are you thinking about giving away?
Well, reusable water bottles, but they're kind of expensive.
Well, you've seen my craft room and I have this idea that's been boiling, but
Okay,
the hierarchy being reduce. Everybody thinks recycle, but reduce and reuse are the hierarchy before recycle. So I have in Patsinum, a very nice collection of bottles that are waiting for me to do something with. So I would be glad to make something.
demo products.
Some products out of some reused
That's a good idea.
products out
Something
of
to display.
One thing I have done is like salsa jars or that shaped jars. I take the lids and use the pourable paint and make a nice little design on it, and then put a starfish or some kind of beach thing on it. And then I keep cotton balls in it and sugar and that kind of stuff. So
I
mean,
have too been using since glass is not really all that recyclable, I've been reusing jars. It's like instead of, some plastic container, I can transfer my rice into an old pasta jar or something. I mean, I think we should.
I have so many jars and bottles just waiting for me to get inspired. So I can come up
You've
with
made
some
lamps, right?
small lamps. Yeah. My not kettle one, Grey Goose lamps. Yeah. So yeah,
That
I'll
would be-
make something.
Okay, well, maybe we can do that. Just clever ideas for recycling
Yeah.
in your home.
Yeah.
Um,
Reusing, not
Right,
recycling.
right.
Reusing.
Well, yes, upcycling is what people call it.
Upcycling, yeah.
Yeah, I got a Crown Royal lamp, or not, excuse me, a Crown Royal candle.
Candle. Yeah.
Okay.
Put the lid on.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, so anybody who has things that they have upcycled, rather than, putting in the trash or in the recycling bin, there's something to think about having a display. Would that be, would think of that for anything we do at the kickoff, we could also do at Bay Day. And including, I don't know if you want to do a whole video setup again, because that's takes a lot.
It does. It was a
But if we get the video posted on the YouTube page, we can just refer people to it.
Right.
And even just, have a couple of iPads or something here, want to take a look at our video, it's right. If we had internet access, which I don't know if we do it.
Right. Well, I could provide it on the thumb. Can you put a thumb into an iPad?
No, we do not have USB ports on iPads, but I have one on my Chromebook. I could bring a Chromebook. All right, so those are some ideas.
That would work.
Any other things that anybody wants to bring up? Discussion, comments?
Yeah, I got a couple things.
Okay,
Maryland Coastal Bays,
yes.
they are having a invasive species eradication process this
Lizard
afternoon.
Hill, Lizard Hill.
3 to 5. Yeah, Lizard Hill.
Where is that?
I don't know, but I imagine it's out by the end of Bishopville. Past the termite place, maybe.
Okay.
I registered. You're supposed to register. I haven't gotten any
Is
direction.
it rain
from
or
St.
shine?
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's supposed to rain.
It's not raining yet.
I know, but
So
And that starts at what, 2
Three.
o'clock?
3 to 5. 3 to 5. I plan on going out there.
Okay.
and it's eradication of invasive species.
Yeah, look, I think there's really targeting wisteria.
Okay.
And along those same lines, I did reach out to Taylor Swanson regarding invasive vines around the Southgate Pond to take a look at. I haven't gotten back to him. He got back to me. And anyway, I still need to do that with him. And then the other thing was contacting Dr. Christine Knaus. She's from the University of Maryland at the Horn Point Lab
Oh, right,
for a
yeah.
trip to see their oyster propagation process.
That'd be awesome.
That would be another field trip.
Another
for
field
us.
trip, yeah. yeah.
No, where's that located?
Cambridge. Near
Um,
Cambridge, right?
Yeah, it's out that way. It's
My,
like close to Oxford and Cambridge.
Couple of
goes
my
that.
nieces who majored in, whatever, some kind of a program that was about, I don't know, marine life or something. They had they have camps up there for kids where they go for a week and they help with the oysters, all that other stuff. So I had heard of it.
Then I still have to move the oyster cage. So.
And I did look into that. And they do seem like they welcome visits at Horn Point. So
Yeah, I've reached out there. I'm just waiting.
well, that would be for maybe something in the springtime. or-
Probably, yeah. I mean, we don't-
So that's a future.
Yeah.
Future field trip.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I did notice something reading the minutes from the last board meeting about other residents speaking up about the problem with pollutions in the canal. And but I don't know what we as a committee can do to help discourage people from, first of all, from putting grass clippings into canals, from actually just, what do they call it? Grass cycling. You just leave it and, you don't
Mulching.
need. Yeah, mulching. Yeah, you don't need to get rid of your grass clippings, or a lot of times you have the mowers that collect them.
Mhm.
But I guess the grass can also be composted or recycled.
Yeah, well, if you get a mulcher,
Right,
it just
mulching
goes
mower.
right back down and they
Yeah.
decompose. That's what I do now. And hell, my grass grows great. The
So,
only thing you need is rain once in a while.
so the problems are the people that use the fertilizers on their lawns that then go into the canals along with the clippings. I don't know how how you can stop that and, stop people from insisting on having giant green lawns to begin with, which are not environmentally friendly. But is that something that we could, I don't know, do some more education on maybe?
I know in certain areas, there's actually signs up there telling people not to
Really?
put their, in the canals
Okay.
where they, tell you not to spray your clippings into the canal. And I know there was an article, we had an article, in fact, I did write it.
Yes, I know about the algae, yeah.
Yeah, and I showed how that cyanobacteria was generated by the leaching of the material on the grass.
So does anybody who lives on the water or the canals here, have you seen any signs about this?
Well, I live on a canal.
And you say you have a sign in your canal?
There's a sign just down the road from us, yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, they're not one of my neighborhood, but I would like to have one.
Yeah.
Or maybe that could be a display at the expo.
If we find such a sign, or we just?
No, make a poster board with some photos.
Do's and don'ts of.
Yeah, so this is what it looks like. Here's why you don't do it. I just like you to just educate people.
Where's the sign at? Where's the sign at?
Oh, wood duck, right?
Wood duck,
Yeah,
Wood Duck One or?
Wood Duck one.
Where is it?
Wood Duck
Duck?
one,
Okay.
as I remember, and, it was a red one sitting right there. And
But it was on,
people
on
would
your,
pull in and they would just know that, they weren't supposed to, when they cut the yard, don't put the grass.
but it was on the canal on the left side of Wood Duck One.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the right side with Golden Eye Canal,
Is
and there's no sign that I've ever seen.
is Wood Duck one of the communities that has an additional HOA? Or, because I know there are some and they have their own rules, like Colonial.
Not Wood Duck.
Village or-
Turns Landing does. My brother lives there. So
Turns Land.
Because I was thinking maybe it could have been a sign done by whatever that community's,
Right.
additional HOA is, but maybe not. I'll look for it, but
We have one in Colonial Village, but there's only 4 or 5 houses that are on the canal. But I'll bring it up to the next HOA meeting.
okay.
If I could just jump in, I'm in touch with Karen Baldwin and this
Yes.
is her big
Oh,
thing.
yes.
And I got a call from her this past week, and she had asked about having more signs. Two things she was concerned about. One is, well, having signs, more signs about the grass clippings, which, I think at one time we said signs everywhere, sign, do this, don't do that. Okay. But in this case, maybe people don't know that, well, if they read, they should know because we've done enough articles. But anyway, signs. And then the other item that she was concerned about was the fertilizer use within the exclusion zone close to the water, and
I don't think anybody knows about that,
Ro-
that I've talked.
and enforcement of that,
Mm.
because that's not a best practice. That's a law.
Okay,
So
exclusion zone that you can't fertilize within several, some distance from water,
I think there's some fertilizers that are,
Yeah,
organic.
right.
yeah, what they don't want is the people to take those fertilizer spinners and spray the stuff all over the place, because that's the stuff that will end up in the pond.
and then it's the runoff.
Right.
Well,
If you have runoff, well, it depends on where you are. Where I have, the bulkhead's high enough where I don't get the runoff, and I don't put my fertilizer anymore. I get True Green to do it, and they have a fertilizer that they put down, and it's a spray, and it sticks right on the grass. And they also said that the leachate won't harm fish.
So that, I think that's one of the, you mentioned True Green. I'm sure there's a lot of people that use, lawn maintenance services, and
I used to do it myself all the time, but then when I came here on the canal and I started to try and come up with the, application so I wouldn't have to worry about polluting, I finally came down to the fact was what I could get and what they could get were two different worlds. And now on our canal, you don't see anything. It's nice and clean.
So it would be also, I guess we could research to find out which local lawn maintenance companies use organic. Corn gluten used to be the go-to organic fertilizer. I don't know if it still is, but
I don't have a problem with True Green. They're very good.
But you
And
see,
my grass grows well and I don't have any weeds.
so maybe just anybody uses a company that they think does the right stuff, let me know, and maybe we can come up with a list. And I don't know if we want to really be suggesting one vendor over another, but if we had a list of possible, I mean, I see lawn maintenance, especially the non-full-time residents, see people that aren't in their house, but somebody comes and mows the lawn, and
Well, I mow the lawn. It's just that I decided after a while on that water that I couldn't obtain the type of fertilizers and insecticides and all that I needed for the yard, and that I needed to get a professional out there. So I interviewed them, and that's why I came up with True Green.
yeah. Well, also, weed control. I've been experimenting with industrial strength vinegar, which works pretty well, but don't get it on your hands.
Where did you get industrial strength vinegar?
I got it off Amazon. I mean, you can
Okay.
buy something at buy it at Home Depot, but there's different strength levels. I was just trying to keep zoysia grass from invading flower beds, and you spray it, and basically what it does, it dries out the foliage, and it pushes it back more or less. But it's a good, it's an organic alternative to Roundup and other things.
Yeah. It works if you mix it right
Right.
with salt and
Salt,
water.
vinegar, and maybe some, I don't know, some people say put some detergent in it too, or.
Yeah, I've used it on my roof for moss control, and I've also
Oh,
used it
does
on
it work
the
for moss?
yeah, I got a paver driveway too, so it worked between the cracks. In
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like moss. I'm trying to let the moss take over what maybe was once a lawn, because I have so many trees that can't really, grow most grass, but I don't want it on the roof. So thank you for that. Okay. Any other comments or suggestions or?
About anything?
Yeah, I mean, I know Pat Benner said she may have already left us because she said she had an 11 o'clock meeting,
Yeah.
but we're at 11:09.
You got that.
Oh, well, it's just something about this thing I got from the windshield.
Okay.
And there's a couple of comments in here that we haven't really discussed, but it said that US Wind, all right, is the company that plans to build an industrial maintenance yard in West Ocean City Harbor for these turbines. And, but the comment here, studies have proven that the visible offshore wind turbines hurt beach tourism and reduce property values. There's,
Well,
so you can see there's so many positions that people are taking about the wind turbines.
yeah, but I mean, if they're 3 miles off of the,
Yeah, well, they said here the turbines will be clearly visible from our beach.
but in most of the commercial fishing operations, you know, if they're going after, you know, tuna and mahi, they go out like 20 miles. They have to go out to wherever the first trench
The
is.
Gulf Stream, yeah.
Yeah,
That's 60 miles, you know,
well,
get to the canyons.
And they said the wind turbines will be 11 and a half miles from Ocean City. And it's 114 turbines.
I still think that would be kind of hard to see from, but anyway, we've already decided we're not gonna take a position. We're
I
just
understand.
gonna
Well, I'm just giving
We're
you
going to-
some of the advertisement here.
graciously acknowledge Marty Clark's concerns and just say, thank you. Maybe we'll show up at a meeting and bring it up to the board. Okay, so anything else, or can we move to adjourn?
I think I changed my mind. I think I can do another year. So if you could email me, thank you.
Thank you. So that would mean we only really have one opening. So I guess I can. I'm glad. We can report, we can add whatever, however we do that.
Okay.
All right.
At the monthly meeting, Jeff, they discussed that openings on the committee.
Yeah.
I mean, they try to recruit people.
No recruiting. All we do is any forms that have been submitted, I get them, like I'll get the packet for the board meeting on Thursday. And my job as a board member is I go through it. That way at board meeting, they'll just call a motion for approval. But if somebody has a concern,
Mhm.
that's where you would raise it. But if not, we just approve.
So it's pretty much,
It's just approval.
Okay.
And then as far as advertising the openings, I see in the weekly letter, email that you get,
yeah.
they have a list, the
Yes.
committees are looking for the
Right.
following, and our committee hasn't been on there.
But we'll really only have one opening.
Right.
I know that, you know, I know like when I applied, I guess it was an opening, but sometimes you have a
I
waiting
get it.
list. if
Let me
somebody
see if I can
wants to
find
go.
it.
Yeah, Linda keeps that, but
Our committee is in such demand, we could have a waiting list. Okay, so can I get a motion to adjourn?
Make motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. We almost made it under an hour, but not quite.